Are you thinking about buying a home in Tampa Bay? You have probably heard about no state income tax, all the sunshine, and low taxes overall for properties. But there are a couple nuances for buying homes in Tampa Bay that you absolutely need to be aware of before you make the move here because it could cost you thousands. My name is Celia Veldhuis-Kroeze. I am a realtor here in Tampa Bay, and I'm making this video so that you understand all of the nuances of buying a home in Tampa Bay before you make the move here. First, it's important to understand that Tampa Bay is not one housing market. It's actually three major housing markets. So, Tampa is one of them, St. Petersburg, and then Clearwater. And each of them have a very different vibe depending on the lifestyle that you're looking for. Tampa is going to have more of that city feel. It's more of a job center, and there's a lot more new development and new builds happening in the area. St. Petersburg is more charming, artsy, and has a lot more older homes. It's also closer to the beach. Now, Clearwater has a very vacationy type feel. There's a lot of tourism, and it is also closer to the beach. In the Tampa Bay area, where you buy matters just as much as what you buy. One of the main things that you need to consider during your home search here is flood zones. In Tampa Bay, homes fall into FEMA flood zones, which can be categorized as flood zone X, AE, or VE, and it determines whether you're required to have flood insurance or not. Zone X would be low risk of flood, and this is obviously preferred. AE is a moderate risk of flood, and VE would be coastal type properties that have a very high risk of floods. The catch is that two houses on the same street can actually be in different flood zones. So, this is something that you want to be very mindful of and make sure that your realtor is checking for flood zones as well as checking FEMA's website to make sure that it's not in a moderate or high risk area before you fall in love with a home, unless, of course, you're willing to pay flood insurance, but this can cost you thousands of dollars a year. Beyond flood insurance, home insurance in general in the state of Florida, especially in the Tampa Bay area, can be complicated because you have to factor in things like hurricane and wind damage, as well as the fact that a lot of the homes here are older and have been renovated, and often insurance costs can be higher because of that. That being said, areas like Seminole Heights and Ybor have very charming older homes, but they have a much higher need for maintenance costs, and insurance will likely be more expensive. Where in areas like Riverview, Wesley Chapel, Carrollwood, there are a lot more new builds, but sometimes with new build communities comes HOA fees. So there are really pros and cons to both approach. You just need to be mindful of the type of feel that you want to have in your new home and what your overall budget is as well. Another cost that first time home buyers here in Florida often misinterpret is the cost of property taxes. Because in the state of Florida, you can homestead a property, which allows you to gain tax exemptions on your property. And it also puts a cap on the increase of assessed value of your property over the course of the years that you own it as your primary residence. So, what the current owners are paying for taxes could look very different than what you'll actually owe because these taxes will reset when the house goes for sale. Now, you, of course, can apply for homestead exemptions, but that can take up to a year to actually be approved for and apply. So, when you're looking at properties, make sure you're receiving the updated tax estimate and not what the current owners are paying if it's estimated to increase. The last nuance that I urge my buyers here to consider is their commute time. And I always recommend that they give their commute a try before they actually purchase the property that they're interested in, because a 25-minute commute in certain times of the day here can easily turn into over an hour, if not more, especially considering if you're going from the St. Pete side of town to Tampa. Anything over a bridge can get very, very backed up. So it's something that you definitely want to try before you buy. Summary: if you're buying a home in the Tampa Bay area, it's very important to be mindful of the different neighborhoods and the different vibes that they provide and which one is going to be the right one for you. It's important to be mindful of flood zones and insurance costs, as well as your commute in the Tampa Bay area, because things can get pretty time consuming pretty fast when it comes to traffic here. If you're thinking about buying in the Tampa Bay area, I would love to help you and work with you so that we can find you the perfect property that meets your needs. Text me Tampa to 612-963-8420 to get started.